And I saw the highlight of Heaven Hamley's 3. I know she kind of got I don't know if you would call it a tough night, but they did a good job defending her. But her 1-3 she had, and we were just talking about this before the show. I mean, the handles on that to get open, to use the dribble, to come off a little bit of a screen and then hit the 3 was impressive. And how awesome was the celebration after I saw that on Twitter with Jory Collins running in, spraying the water all over everyone. I mean, well-deserved and well-earned, and an awesome celebration to end the night.
That was great. The video crew for NDSU does a great job, and they were there to capture Jory Collins, Jamie Adams, Dylan Geiser, the whole coaching staff, Michaela Crawl as well, getting the water bottles, and they snuck into the locker room and, have a little party, a little celebration there. You absolutely should.
Wow.
Those are games where you don't get those games all that often. When you get a chance, do it.
Jinx.
You said the same thing.
Yeah, Jinx.
Yeah,
you can't talk now.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Go ahead. Show is yours. It's all you, big man.
Me and Micah are taking over.
You and Micah the rest of the way. So, no, it was a good night, and congratulations to them. I said it during the broadcast. Like, it just felt like this program, we know it's been tough years. Like, there were some really lean years there for a while. But for the last 4 years under Jory Collins, you've seen steps in the right direction. Every single season, you can see something. And this crew, this team, a lot of new faces. There's 8 new faces on the team. But they had an off-season trip overseas to Greece. And that feels like it paid a lot of dividends early on to get this camaraderie on and off of the court. They're a fun group to be around. They have a lot of fun with each other. Coach Collins said it after the game on the post-game show. They like being around each other. I like being around them. I think they like being around me for the most part, he said, so kind of jokingly. But they get together. They get along extremely well. Fun group to be around. And I encourage Bison Nation again. I know that was the Gophers, and that was a big part of the draw. There were quite a few maroon and gold shirts in the crowd as well, which was totally fine. Fans are fans. We'll take them, and still made for a great atmosphere. But again, this team plays on Tuesday against Northern Colorado. Do the same thing. Bring another great crowd out there and make it fun. And I know I heard from a number of fans that said this was my first time at a game in X amount of years, where I brought my daughter to her first game, and she's hooked. She loved it. We've got to come back for more. Come back for more. It's a good squad. It's a good product, and I know they would definitely appreciate the support. And it's a group of some senior players like a Heaven Hamlin, Abby Schulte, Taylor Brown, who's new to the program but played a lot of college basketball, that I think deserve a really good atmosphere and a really good crowd to play in front of. So continue to come out there and support this team. But congratulations to them on a big-time victory against Minnesota. 3-0 on the year. You can't start any better than that. So that's as good as you can do. And I wanted to make sure we started off the program mentioning that, because that's a big-time moment for this program. And anytime you get a team up here from the Big Ten, that's a cool game. And to win it makes it even cooler. They will go down to Williams Arena next year. They'll go and play the Gophers in Minnesota, in Minneapolis next season. So a bit of a home and home, and these teams will look pretty similar next year as well. There'll be a few changes, as is the case in college basketball, but a lot of freshmen for Minnesota. They play a bunch of them. One of their star freshmen was out in the game, and then NDSU, you got a bunch of freshmen and sophomores and juniors, and even a player like Heaven Hamlin who will be back next season as well. So these teams will look pretty similar when they match up next year as well, which I believe actually starts off the season. That might be the season opener down at the barn, as they call it, at the University of Minnesota. But Football Friday for you, going over everything this week for playoffs for NDSU UND. Obviously, it's an in-state rivalry. We'll give you plenty of reaction to the game, or preview of the game, but reaction as well to what happened last night for the women's team and the men's basketball team as well, as they fall last night. We'll give you our thoughts on that. I know some fans were chiming in on that loss last night for NDSU men's basketball against Indiana State, but we will go over all that stuff today on the show. As I mentioned, Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl at 11:30, and then plenty of stuff to cover in the noon hour as well, including what happened last night, Thursday night football. Green Bay Packers, Tennessee Titans. The Titans get the victory. I think a 2-score win. It ended up being in Lambeau with a bunch of injuries for Tennessee, by the way, but they still found a way to get the win. The guy that wasn't injured was Derrick Henry, and he was phenomenal with a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown, I believe. But 2 receiving touchdowns for our own Christian Watson. So that makes it, I believe, a total of 5 receiving touchdowns in 10 days for Christian Watson.
Less than that.
Not even.
6 days? Sunday to Thursday?
Oh, yeah, it'd be Sunday to Thursday. It wasn't like a week ago Sunday. Yeah, it'd be
Sunday to Thursday. And
5 days.
And I saw a tweet out that he now leads the NFL for rookies in receiving touchdowns. And 6 days ago, he had 0. And now he has 5, and he's leading the league as far as rookies go. So obviously he's found something. I think this is what we all kind of expected that Christian Watson could do. Now it was going to be tough, and I know you've talked about this before, Andy, but like he was injured in a lot of the preseason. He wasn't able to kind of create that chemistry, and obviously Aaron Rodgers has struggled, at times these last couple of weeks. But we've really seen Christian do what we saw him do at NDSU, and I thought, I saw the first one live. I was watching it on that free play that Aaron Rodgers kind of threw up to him, and it's a 50-50 ball at best. And he was able to come down with it, and he's really you got to feel good for him after what happened. And I don't even want to bring it up anymore, but after what happened in Week 1 loss to Minnesota and the drop that he had that everyone keeps talking about, you just felt like he needed something good to go right for him to just kind of get over that mental hump. We all know what he can do physically, just mentally, just to kind of get over that. And I think it's safe to say that he has done that in these last couple of weeks.
I would agree with you. I think it's safe to say he is probably not thinking about that one at all.
No, and he shouldn't.
And when it happened, there was guys, I think actually Adam Thielen was asked about it, by a reporter after that Week 1 game, Vikings versus Packers, and Adam Thielen even said, honestly, that might be the best thing that ever happens to the kid. Because you drop the first one, you can do everything you can not to drop another one after that, right? Yep. And it's going to – he's already a good player. Clearly he's a talented player. He went in the second round, right? But now that focus is going to be there even more, and he's going to work harder and harder to make sure it doesn't happen again. And we all knew Christian was going to be good. It's not just the speed; it's the combination of size with speed. Where I know on the broadcast last night I heard everyone saying, "Okay, be physical with him, hit him at the line, rough him up a little bit." Well, at NDSU, people tried to do that. It didn't necessarily work very well, and you have to be a physical wide receiver to get on the field, really, for NDSU, because you got to be able to block. So. Christian Watson's kind of used to that stuff too, and he's not just a small, quick guy. He's got some size to him a little bit as well, which makes it harder to be physical with him.
Well, size and length. You can have that arm length. That's why arm length is such a big thing talked about when the NFL draft comes around, and that's something that they always look at, one of the measurables. And to be able to have that extension to get DBs off of you, and like you said, this isn't a receiver that played in the Big 12 and just a spread offense, and all he did was run routes. He was blocking a ton at NDSU, as all the wide receivers have to do. So, yeah, be physical with him if you want. I don't think that's something he's going to shy away from, and we saw that last night.
Micah, thoughts?
There was my favorite play from last night wasn't even the Christian Watson touchdown. It was that he was a lead blocker on a swing pass for Aaron Jones out in the flat. Christian Watson, you know that they can trust him without the ball in his hands when he's the lead blocker for Aaron Jones out in the open, and he laid a good block down and sealed the edge.
Oh, exactly. That had to be one of the reasons he was drafted where he was. I mean, obviously, it's not the main thing. It might even be. It's probably not even like 20% of the reason why he got blocked, but why he got drafted. But it's one of the reasons. I mean, his ability to block and the system that he played it at NDSU, he's used to that. And trust me, I've played in the NFL. Like, there's some guys just aren't interested in doing that. Like, I'm a pass catcher, and there's tight ends that aren't interested in blocking. I catch passes. That's what I do. He's obviously not one of them. He can do a little bit of everything.
And even with that, the Packers want to run. I mean, they got A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones back there. They want to you got Aaron Rodgers, too. I get that he's a great quarterback, but they want to run a little bit and be that physical running game. So when you get receivers that can block a little bit, we've seen that as well. Another FCS connection, Cooper Kupp. Phenomenal blocker. They talked about that all the time last year with Cooper Kupp in the running game, how physically he was as a blocker, not just as a wide receiver. And I think some teams were looking at that saying, can we get somebody like that is willing to put their nose in there and free up a big hole for the running back?
Which that can make it harder. I'd imagine when a receiver can almost fake like he's going to stock block downfield and then get around you, maybe on a go ball for Christian Watson when he has the speed. If he pretends like he's going to come up and block you, and then he just does a little swim move, gets by you, good night.
Yeah, so great night for him. He gets a couple of touchdowns, but the Packers do lose the game, which if you're asking Christian, would he give away the 2 touchdowns for a win? Sure, I'm sure he would, right? Team success more important than individual success, but for him personally, it's got to feel pretty cool. You're probably bummed about the loss, but then secretly when maybe you leave the locker room and the cameras are off, you go, okay, I'm feeling like I kind of belong, right? And that's what you want when you're a rookie. If you're a high draft pick, you can, at any position, you can go through those moments where you have 3 or 4 really bad games in a row. I'm sure even the best competitors, the most confident players and athletes are like, okay, am I good enough? Am I going to be able to do it? And now after you have 2 games like this, I'm sure he's thinking, yes, I can. I clearly belong at this level, which is a huge part of the conversation when you're dealing with NFL players.
That's definitely part of the equation when you think about the mental side of sports in general is the confidence of, can I do this? And I think I went through that myself at times. Going into the NFL, coming from NDSU, I believe in myself, but can I really do this? And it goes back to what I was just talking about. Like, you just need something to go right. You just need a play or two, a game or two to prove to yourself more than anything. Like, yes, calm down, relax. I have the ability to play in this league, and I think we all saw that. And you can just look at Christian Watson, and I kind of saw that the first time I think I ever saw him step foot on campus. Like, this guy's just different. And now that he's had the success the last couple of weeks, I think he's got to feel good about it. And it's like you said, he's going to be disappointed with the loss. I would be too, but it's easier for me. It was always easier to accept a loss. Not that you ever want to, when you feel like, at least I feel like I did my part. Maybe there's always game. Look, you never have a perfect game in football. It doesn't. There's no such thing. There's always something you could have done more. But it's easier when you feel like, all right, at least I contributed. I did, my 1/11th, and it's easier than one of those games where you struggle and then you still lose. Those were the worst.
Like I said, you won't say that to the media. Like, no, I played well.
Internally though, that's how you feel.
But when the cameras are away, when you go home and you put your head on the pillow, you're like, okay, I played well. I did what I could, and especially for a rookie in your rookie year to say, okay, I feel like I belong. That's a big thing, not just for this year, but for the long term. View of what Christian Watson can be. Because go back 3 or 4 weeks ago, everyone in Green Bay, he's a bust. Yep. He's a bust. He's done. Can't do it. FCS guy. It's too big of a jump for him. All that stuff. And I said before the season started, probably not going to be a great start for him. It is a jump, but he's a freak athlete. He has things. Coaches will say, I want players. Jory Collins says this all the time for women's basketball. There's sometimes I want players things you can't coach.
Yep.
There's some things you can coach as much as you want on the fundamentals and this and that and being in the right spot. I can't coach 4.3 speed and 6 foot whatever. Those are things you can't coach, and he's definitely got those, and it's starting to show up a little bit on game tape as well there for the Packers. We'll take our first break on the program here, Football Friday for you, though. You do have a couple of ways to win today with us. You can win your free night stay at Homewood Suites, our home away from home here in Fargo. Homewood Suites, a free night stay there with our Call Your Shot giveaway on our Facebook page, Bison 1660. You can win a free night stay there just by guessing the score of the game. Go to our Facebook page, Bison 1660. Look for the Call Your Shot graphic. If you are the winner that guessed the closest to the final score Saturday between NDSU and UND, if you guess the closest on the final score with the correct winner, got to guess before kickoff, obviously. Get those guesses in there on our Facebook page. If you are the closest to the correct score, you'll win a free night stay at Homewood Suites in Fargo. And if you text the keyword rivalry, that's rivalry, to 701-476-1660, you're registered to win our ultimate tailgate package from Bud Light. We'll give that tailgate package away at the end of the show today. So text the keyword rivalry to 701-476-1660 to win that ultimate tailgate package from Bud Light, the official beer of the Bison. We'll take a break. We'll come back, tell you what's going to be coming on these airwaves on Sunday morning. Cool show for you that happens every year, but we'll be doing it again this year. We'll talk about that show when we come back next on The Insiders.
The most complete Bison coverage in the region. Your Bison Nation station.
You are deep in thought, which is always dangerous.
Bison 1660.
We take great pride in really doing all the research and the work behind the scenes to make sure that our products just work.
We have our own staff member that helps pick the hybrids and the varieties that work in our area. It's meant for you, not for somebody 200 miles away.
We test our seed locally. We produce our seed locally, so we get to see our production fields, where they need to be, and if they work there.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
When you're making decisions about your ag operation finances, you need access to the experts. This is Scott Solandic with Cornerstone Bank. Whether you're just starting your operation or looking to grow, we're here to talk you through those financial decisions. We're the kind of people who get to know you and genuinely appreciate your needs. If you're looking for a bank that's been specializing in ag banking for generations, come see us at Cornerstone Bank.
Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. You won't find better people and a better place to work than Trail King. Meet the people that make Trail King great.
I've been welding for 10 years, and I like Trail King because they have a good work environment.
I've been here 7 years as a welder. I have a family at home, and the benefits here are great. And I like that I'm saving for my retirement weekly.
Now hiring for production. Full-time hire receives 401k, benefits, a $3,000 sign-on bonus with starting pay $18 an hour up to $24. Apply now at TrailKing.com. Join Trail King and build something to be proud of.
A commercial roof provides protection from the elements like snow, wind, and rain for contents and occupants of the business inside. Protect your business with a roof from All-Star Construction. All-Star Construction is the area's most referred and trusted contractor when it comes to commercial maintenance and roofing repairs. They're a business owner's best friend. Schedule your free estimate today by calling or visiting them online at allstarfargo.com. That's allstarfargo.com. All-Star Construction, your exterior experts.
Brooks in motion right to left, fake the fly sweep, hand off the Seasport, up the middle, touchdown! Easton Stick!
Bison great and Chargers quarterback Easton Stick joins the Insiders each week to discuss his journey in the NFL and reminisce on some of his favorite moments in a Bison uniform. Our conversations with Easton are brought to you by Red River Commodities, The Spirit Shop, and Men's Hair Company. Each week, Easton Stick on the Insiders here on Bison 1660. The Bison Hotline postgame show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
The place you go for all your Bison news first. You've got the Insiders right here on Bison 1660.
11:24 on the program. Jim Nagy will join us here in just a little bit, talk some Senior Bowl with you. Do want to correct ourselves, Kyle. We dove in on the OVC yesterday. Rightfully so. I mean, they're going to have a coin flip to decide their championship. That's accurate. With an 8-2 team and a 6-4 team that are both 4-4 in conference. Said 5 teams.
4-0 in conference.
Oh, what did I just say?
4-4.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, both of them have 4 wins. 4 wins and 4-0. Correction on the correction.
There we go.
We said 5 teams. They do have 7 teams in their conference.
Okay.
Technically 7 teams when you include Lindenwood and Tennessee Tech and Tennessee State.
Does that make it better?
No, because if you have 7 teams in your conference, which means you have 6 conference teams you need to face. Should you face everybody in your conference?
Yes.
I would agree with you. So
shouldn't even be a debate.
Still only faced 4 out of 6 for SEMO and UT Martin. So that's pretty ridiculous in my book that your conference is going to end up being decided by a coin flip. Then they will face one more, I get that. So they'll face 5 out of the 6. But you should be facing everyone in your conference. There's no reason when you only have 7 people in your conference you can't face everybody.
It's just kind of a weird scenario, too. Like how the one team they don't play is a team, or the team that they're going to be the tiebreaker with.
You're not high on UT Martin this year as you were last year?
No. Skyhawks. Hey, I can switch year to year.
It was your team
last year. It was. And they won in the playoffs. They beat Missouri State.
Andy switches week to week, though.
I think it was a year. We got to give him some credit.
Yeah, but
whole
this year's team is what he did with Mercer. I pointed that out yesterday. Dropped after a bye.
I've never really been on Mercer.
Oh, clearly you were. They were like 11 in your poll.
Yeah.
And then they dropped after a bye, and then they dropped after a win.
I'm on Andy's side. You can drop after a bye.
Okay, maybe a bye, but why a win?
Well, was it an impressive win?
Shouldn't matter.
I don't know.
Like I said, when you go to the last week of the regular season, I'm really going to dive into who I think are the best teams. And even though you won, I'm going I don't view it. A lot of people view their bracket or their polls as, okay, I got to keep it pretty similar to what it was the week before. I'm like, no, this is a week-to-week thing. Most impressive team overall for me. And
is there a
team?
I'm going to put you on the spot since you did this to me.
Okay.
Is there a team in your top 15 from the first week, now if you can remember, that you're just shocked with at the results they have had this year? That
was in the top 15 in week 1?
Top 15 week 1 that are now just completely out of it.
Oh, yeah. Multiple. Southern Illinois, Missouri State, Delaware's out of it. If you'd asked me before the year, I would have told you you're not nuts. Like, sometimes you think they can be good. Sometimes you think they could be bad. You never really quite know But I was high on Delaware, so I'm a little surprised that they've completely fallen out and haven't beaten any of the top teams in the CAA. But that doesn't completely shock me. ETSU was in it, and they're not in it anymore. That
ETSU
doesn't
has like 3
surprise
wins.
me. I actually was not high on ETSU. They were like a top 10 team in the FCS, like top 25 pool.
I'm looking at your week 2 poll. You had them number 9.
Yep. What was week 1? I'll scroll up to that
For
one.
some reason it won't. I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
That must have been
I think
not
they were
on your-
just outside of the top 10. Then they won. I put them into the top 10.
Okay.
But everyone else had them. They were like 5, 6, or 7 start of the year. But new coaching staff. That one really does not surprise me, honestly. But yeah, Samford I think is the most surprising one for me. What they've done this year, been able to climb up all the way. Them and Holy Cross has had a good year as well.
I think Missouri State's got to be number 1.
Mhm.
I really do. I mean, they had everything. It felt like they had everything coming back, everything lined up for them, and they just. They have one conference win, right, against Western Illinois, and that's it. And
they did beat Youngstown last week.
That's right.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, you're right. They did win last week, so they have 2 conference wins. But either way, just the fall that they had, they were ranked as high as 3, 4, somewhere top 5.
3 in mine, 4 in
the
stats
top 5
perform.
coming out.
Yep.
So
Dave
Crazy.
from Minot wanted to point out that you had UT Martin in your original Week 1 top 15.
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Yes,
are they
you did.
And they are nowhere close to that, right? To
No,
the
they're
top
not
15.
in it.
Yeah, they're not in it anymore.
Not in it. They haven't
But,
been in it for a while.
But that's kind of how it is. Like stuff
I mean,
switches from like how
guys,
how
they're
you guys
6
already
and
talking.
4.
Yeah.
Oh, they should drop.
Yeah, they
Rightfully
shouldn't
so.
be in it. They're 6 and 4, and if they win their auto bid, congratulations, you won a coin flip and you beat 4 teams that aren't good. I mean, the rest of the teams in their conference: Tennessee Tech's 4 and 6, Tennessee State's 3 and 7, Lindenwood's 7 and 3, but they're playing a D2 schedule, so it doesn't count. Eastern Illinois is 2 and 8, and Murray State's 2 and 8. So we to
Solid.
get Murray State into the Valley in a couple of years or next year.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be
it'll
fun.
Great. Yeah, so they didn't really beat anybody. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I get
but-
that they have a record, but the record's still just 6 and 4. So
I think he just wanted to point out that you were off on them at the beginning of the year, but a lot of people were off on a lot of teams. Everyone was off on Missouri State, so
yeah. I did kind of feel like I had to have UT Martin in the top 15 at the start because of how high I was on them at the end of last year. Plus, they won a playoff game last year against Missouri State, who I had ranked at 3. Felt like you kind of had to have
Yeah,
them in
I
there a
can
little bit
understand that.
in the week 1. But the Skyhawks, I wasn't really necessarily on them this year.
yeah.
My team was Delaware.
Your team was
That was
Delaware
his
from the start.
From the start. And if they don't win this week, they're not going to be a playoff team. That's how it should be. So haven't beat the top teams in their conference. Started out great. Beat Navy. And I was puffing the chest out, man. I mean, let's go.
Yeah, I think you
Blue
texted
Hen
me
Nation.
after that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
did
Kyle,
text
guess
you.
what?
Yeah.
Delaware won. Yeah, okay, I get you.
Yeah, because you were trying to, calm me down on the Blue Hens.
Well, yeah, because I know they were without Nolan Henderson, right, last
Yep.
year, but they had like 3 wins last year, and you were, hey, but I'll give you credit. You saw something that I did not.
Yeah, but haven't beat the top teams in their conference,
But
which
still,
is why they're
yeah.
kind of iffy right now.
They had
I don't think it's going to be a long playoff run for them if they get in.
right.
But we'll see what happens. 11:30 for you. Want to make sure we mention as we break here and get ready for Jim Nagy on Sunday. This Sunday, the bracket gets revealed. We do have the reveal of the FCS bracket here in 2022. We will cover it for you live. It's happening on ESPNU at 11:30 Sunday morning here Central Time. We'll have our bracket coverage show, our Bison Bracket Show, brought to you by a cutting-edge gallery of jewelry, and that will be 11:30 to 12:30 on Sunday, right before NDSU men's basketball against Crown College. You can listen to it again 11:30 to 12:30, brought to you by a cutting-edge gallery of jewelry, the #1 diamond source in the Midwest that guarantees the biggest, whitest, brightest diamonds for your money. Stop in today and enjoy huge savings during their holiday sale at a cutting-edge gallery of jewelry off 45th Street South in Fargo. Myself and Cole Jurek breaking down the bracket for you as we find out where the Bison will be playing, what that path looks like, and that path could have a lot of changes based off what happens here tomorrow in Fargo, inside the Fargo Dome against UND. Let's break right now. We'll come back. Jim Nagy, Senior Bowl, talking with him next.
Bison Nation, your exclusive home for North Dakota State athletics. Bison 1660.
Just when you thought the Twin Peaks menu couldn't get any better, say hello to the New York strip steak, grilled to tender perfection. This 14-ounce cut lets everyone know you mean business. Served with mashed potatoes and sautéed broccoli. Yum! Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for the E-Club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today. Twin Peaks eats during scenic views.
This is Menli from Healing with Hyperbarics, and I want to talk to you today about how hyperbaric oxygen can help you if you've had radiation in the past. Radiation saves lives by killing cancer cells, but the damaging effects of radiation to the tissues continues. This leads to poor blood flow in these tissues, causing a range of problems, depending on which tissues are radiated. If you've had radiation in the past and struggle with any post-radiation injuries, book an appointment with us at Healing with Hyperbarics to see how hyperbaric oxygen can help you heal.
Businesses should know that Consolidated Communications has the only data center in the FM area that is SOC 2 certified. That means Consolidated has tested reliable systems in place to protect your valuable data. That's more important than ever with today's security concerns. Many business insurance companies require SOC certification at data storage facilities. You should work with a local data center that is SOC 2 certified. For scalable, cost-effective data center solutions for your changing business needs, go to consolidated.com/data center.
Dakota Refrigeration has been helping the Bison succeed behind the scenes, from their training room to their dining room, from milk to medicine, from ice to ice cream. Dakota Refrigeration has been serving Minnesota, Montana, and the Dakotas for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, Dakota Refrigeration is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical needs. Dakota Refrigeration, located in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot.
We all want to be part of a winning team, right? Hi, this is Marcus with Steamatic, and I am very proud of our team. Industry experts have voted Steamatic the best method of cleaning with our patented steam cleaning process, our 24-hour service, and highly trained technicians. We do it all from carpet cleaning, air duct cleaning, fire and water damage restoration, and remember, Bison fanatics choose Steamatic.
Steamatic, call 232-4707.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
A 30% chance of snow after 3 p.m., increasing clouds with a high near 19, and overnight a 40% chance of snow, cloudy with a low around 4, and wind gusts as high as 31.
This weather update brought to you by Minn Kota Windows. Just when your kids thought it was time to head outside, a cold snap rolls in. Ditch the coat and snuggle up with peace of mind, knowing that Minn Kota's energy-efficient vinyl will block out the brutal cold and save you money. Midwest built, Midwest tough. Guaranteed for life.
Bison 1660 and Bud Light, the official beer of the Bison, are teaming up every Friday to give away the ultimate tailgate package. Just listen to the insiders each week to hear the tailgate keyword of the week. Text in that keyword for your chance to win the ultimate tailgate package, equipped with a case of Bud Light and Bison swag. The winner will be announced every Friday during the season, and you can play along each week. Up your tailgate game with the ultimate tailgate package from Bud Light, the official beer of the Bison, and Bison 1660.
Gearing up for another season of Bison football? We've got you covered each and every day on the Insiders on Bison 1660.
I feel glorious, got a chance to start again.
Welcome back inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. We're watching Good Morning Football on one screen. Saw Kirk Cousins' bare chest. They're showing Kirko on a plane from a couple weeks back before having Patrick Peterson on, School Vikes. And behind us, we got ESPN. They're talking about game day coming up. Went to David Pollock with the mountains of Bozeman in the background. Gorgeous setting for college football at the Brawl of the Wild tomorrow between Montana and Montana State. Here with you inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Theraldson Ethanol does a great job partnering with Summit Carbon Solutions to reduce the carbon footprint. Learn more about how they are doing great things for our environment and reducing that carbon footprint online at theraldsonethanol.com. They produce 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and nearly 400 tons of livestock feed per year as well at Theraldson Ethanol. This hour of the Insiders as well brought to you by Rick Electric. When you need electrical work, you need Rick Electric. For over 56 years, Rick Electric has been providing excellent electrical services for homes and businesses. Visit them online at rickelectric.com. Joined hopefully by Jim Nagy here in just a matter of moments, talking some Senior Bowl. But obviously we know Cody Malk, Hunter Lipke. Now Hunter with a little bit of an injury here. We'll see what the future holds there for him. Hoping the absolute best that he's going to be able to participate in that event. But that's a really cool honor. And then earlier this week, Nash Jensen as well, getting the NFL PA Bowl invite. And I got a chance to talk with Coach Roll just a little bit earlier this week and brought that up to Coach. And he it got emotional or teary-eyed or anything, but you could tell it meant something. Like Nash Jensen has been through a lot this program. He's also played a lot of football. For his, he's a guy maybe we don't talk about enough. He's been a starter on that line for
Broke
a
the record,
while.
didn't he?
Mhm.
Was it last week or is he going to break it this week? Where he's passing Cordell Volson for the most games played in NDSU history.
It might be this week. I'll go down and double check.
And it's obviously that it's aided by the fact that there's the COVID year, and that's different. But it doesn't matter. I mean, like you said, Andy, he's been here for so long, done so many good things for this NDSU football program. For him to get that chance, you could tell it meant a lot to him, and excited for him. And I've talked at length about what these games mean to these guys. Obviously, Cody Mauck and Hunter Lipke going to the Senior Bowl, and Nash Jensen getting his opportunity. It's just you can't overstate how much it means to finally get a play against that FBS level competition, because everyone wants to put that tag on you when you come from the FCS and you didn't play against the best of the best. Like, okay, whatever, that you can have that opinion, that's fine. But now you get to go do it, and then and it's usually it's interesting because usually it's more about the practices in those games than it is the actual game itself, and that's why I think the Senior Bowl is televised. They televise the practices because they're intense. They really are. I was a part of a couple of them, and that's where you make a name for yourself is in those practices, and the game is kind of just a formality at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of opportunities, like you said. There's people out there who have the opinion, right or wrong, and they're going to stick to it. Probably those people that will die on the hill of this opinion.
We got to have something to talk about, right?
You're FCS level. You're not the same level of competition. You're not the same level of athlete. You just aren't. Well, that's your chance to go prove it, right? Okay, you can say that. You can say that opinion. But you better not lose to me now. Better not lose to me on this rep. If you get that opinion, and it's your chance to kind of. I'm sure Cordell, or Christian Watson. You have some of those performances against an FBS cornerback. Probably say a thing or two walking back to the huddle. I thought I was FCS. I thought I was no good. That's weird. Just caught one on you. Just burned you.
I don't know if players have that. Maybe they do. I hope they don't. FBS players. It's like if you're a good athlete, you're a good athlete. It doesn't matter who you're going against, But it's more so. It's just like the scouting aspect of it. Sometimes I feel like that you got to have everyone has pros and cons, right? Going into the NFL draft, everyone does. And anytime you're coming from a smaller school, one of them's always going to be that fact. But I think it's getting less and less as years go by because we see so many people have success in the NFL that have played at a lower level.
Well, let's talk to the guy that runs the whole thing, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy. Nice enough to give us some time on the Epic Companies hotline. Jim, great to have you on again, sir. Appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time. I know life is busy for you right now, traveling around, handing out these invites. But what was it like to be up in Fargo a little over a week or so ago?
Thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, besides cold, it was it was awesome. It was great. It was great being back up there. It'd been a long time. Last time I was up in Fargo, I was scouting for the Patriots back in the early 2000s. I was trying to think of the player that I went there to check out. But it'd been a long time. But no, it was great. Coach Ensign, those guys doing it. Yeah, gosh, I need to go back and pull out one of my old scouting books and see who it was. I want to say it was a running back. I don't know if it was Lamar Gordon or somebody like that, but I can't remember the name. But it'd been a while, but those guys do a great job, and it was important. I've been wanting to get up there. We've been doing these small school invites thing for about 3 or 4 years now. I think our first one was with Kyle Duggar, Patriots D, who was at a D2 school in North Carolina, Lenore Ryan. So been wanting to get up there, and Cody and Hunter were two of my favorite small school guys this year, so it just made a lot of sense.
Yeah, Jim, you mentioned your trip up to Fargo, and I was curious, how often do you do? Is this an every year occurrence where you actually personally hand out invites to players?
Yeah. Like I said, we started doing it that year, probably my second year. This is my 5th year at the game. We started doing that year too with Duggar, and I think we did Adam Troutman, who was a tight end at Dayton, who ended up going in the 3rd round of the Saints. And it's just cool, man. I mean, you get to you do that in front of their teammates. You make their teammates and their coaching staff a part of it. And I just love seeing the reactions of their other teammates. I mean, it's really genuine. I mean, just for the other day up there with Cody and Hunter, you could tell how much those guys mean to them, and there was genuine love there from their teammates, and it just makes for a really special thing and a memory for those guys and a memory for me. Like I love going. It's tiring to jump around the country. I think I went from Fargo to Princeton to Shepherd University in Maryland, and then in West Virginia, and a small school in Maryland, Frostburg State. So we were putting the frequent flyer miles on the other day, but last week. But it's pretty rewarding. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Jim Nagy here with us from the Senior Bowl. Let's start off with the guys that obviously went or are invited and have accepted the invites from NDSU. Start off first with Cody Malk, offensive lineman. What just stands out to you when you see Cody Malk on tape, and why'd you want to give him that invite?
Yeah, a really efficient player. When we started, I think I started watching those two guys, watched the North Dakota State offense like back in May, and I knew after one tape that we wanted to have both of those guys, really, especially Cody, because there was just more. With skill guys, you got to see his touches, right? So, but after that first game, it was pretty clear Cody'd be a guy we'd want. He's super efficient. He makes it look really easy at that level. He's a really good athlete. He's a good technician. He's tough. Dylan Radens was a guy that had a great week down here and was practice player of the week. But in terms of making it look, he didn't make it look as easy as Cody did. There was just it was almost like the varsity kid that got pulled down and played against the JV squad. Watching Cody play, and so he's gonna have a great opportunity to come down here. Our pass rush crew is already filling in pretty good. He's going to be tested. We'll play him some at guard during the week too. I think a lot of NFL teams want to see what he'd look like inside. So big opportunity for him.
Okay, be honest with me. Were the first down celebrations any factor in the invite?
I didn't know about him until we invited him. No, after he accepted the invite, I was scrolling through Twitter and found the first down thing. But at orientation every year when we get the players together the first night, I tell them, I said, guys, you're not playing college football anymore. You're getting your NFL players now. So if you guys want to do some coordinated, orchestrated touchdown celebrations or whatnot, let's see him on Saturday. And a couple years ago, our offensive line crew, it might have been the year that Dylan was down here, they did like a keg stand touchdown celebration with just the O-line. It was pretty awesome. But no, hopefully Cody will pull out some of the first down stuff when he's down here.
He will lead that room, let me tell you. He did a whole thing. There was like a video montage before the season got going of 18 different first down celebrations he had. I don't think we've seen many of them.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that, man. Some of those were really good.
Yeah. In terms of just football looks, does he look the most like a football player of anyone you've invited to, with the long hair and teeth missing and all that stuff?
He looks like a Viking. I hope Minnesota drafts him, man. He could make some good money off the field with the long flowing hair and all that. But no, he was. The greatest part getting on the campus is I make a connection with these guys, personal connection before they get here to Mobile, and just talking to him about the town he grew up in. It's, close enough drive where you can go home and work on the farm. And I'll share this. It was pretty funny, our conversation. He was like, yeah, I'd like to just play a couple years in the league and come back here and work on the farm. And I looked at him like, play a couple years. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you'll play as long as you want to play. He'll get 2 or 3 really good contracts in and be able to move home and buy any farm in North Dakota he wants. So no, he's great. And again, the staff just couldn't say enough good things. And he made a great first impression. So he'll not only will he do a great job on the field down here, but the interview process, he'll crush that as well.
Jim, let's go over to the other guy that you guys came up and invited, Hunter Lipke. Obviously, we've seen everything, and I don't know if there's anything that he can't do. It seems like on the football field, Matt Entz has described him as he is not a fullback. He is simply a football player. What did you see from him that you liked that led to the invite?
Yeah, the versatility, for one, because during the week he could plug a lot of holes. We have guys get hurt during the week or, things of that nature, so he could play running back, play fullback, play tight end. I think Coach Entz nailed it. He's a good football player, and where a lot of fullback type guys struggle having longevity in the NFL is at some point they struggle to play on special teams because they're not good enough athletes to play in space, and that's certainly not going to be one of Hunter's issues because he's a really good athlete. And I think the thing that stuck out most to me watching his tape was his ability to track and adjust to the football down the field. You don't see many running backs, fullbacks have that ability, and that's why I have seen some people compare him to Kyle Juszczyk, the 49ers fullback who went to Harvard, a Senior Bowl guy too. Hunter's kind of following in his footsteps. Sometimes I see player comps in the media and they're really off base and they're kind of laughable, but that one actually makes a lot of sense. He's probably the closest thing to Juszczyk that we've seen since Kyle came out of Harvard.
I think he's got good timing, too. And now the injury to him is kind of a downer here, a bummer. We don't know exactly what that's going to entail for him the next couple of months, but hopefully he'll be healthy enough to come down there to Mobile and be with you guys. But I think he's coming into the NFL maybe a perfect time, because if it was 3 or 4 years ago, this league was all passing, 100%. The fullback was almost a lost position, and it's still kind of that way, it feels like. But now you're seeing this power running game start to kind of come back. You mentioned Juszczyk with the 49ers. You feel like a team like the Titans could use them. Even the Baltimore Ravens could use another great fullback or something like that. This power running game is starting to kind of come back in the NFL, don't you think?
Yeah, I think Mike McDaniel in Miami, they signed Alec Ingold, another former Senior Bowl guy from Wisconsin, in the offseason. He's having a great year for them. So, yeah, I think obviously not every team plays with a fullback. When I was with Seattle, that was the last team I worked with before I took this job, and we used the fullback, but when you actually looked at the usage outside of special teams, it was only about 7 or 8 reps a game. So they got to do other things, and that's where Hunter's going to be just fine, because you can legitimately – he's not going to be a hand-in-the-dirt tight end, but you can do some stuff move-wise, and he is a good blocker. So there's plenty of versatility there. I think he's not going to be like a true fullback that only fits a small handful of teams. So there'll be more teams. He'll be alive on more teams' boards than a typical fullback normally would.
Jim, I'm just curious, in general, obviously we talked about what you liked about the NDSU players, but when you're looking into some players and, who to invite, how much does input from NFL scouts factor into that, or is it more just you and your team identifying players as these are the guys that we want, or do you go look and talk to some of these NFL teams like, who do you want down here at the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, we absolutely do. So I've said this a lot. Before we got here 5 years ago, there wasn't even tape in the office. The NFL wasn't even giving All-Star games tape before. So we've legitimized the process. We've got 9 former NFL scouts that were all in the league last year. I restaff this thing every year with guys that get let go in the hiring-firing cycle. So we've got like 170-some years of NFL experience, and we were out at 10-plus games for the first 10 weeks of the college season, and we do all our own work. But absolutely, like you gotta really, there's no ego in this thing. I'm trying to bring all the players the league wants to see. So the final stage of our process is once we have the board set the way we see fit. Yeah, I think we did calls with 12, 13, 14 teams a couple weeks ago before I headed up to Fargo, and we just went position by position and compared grades and compared notes and made sure we were bringing the guys they want to see. So that's certainly a big part of it. Again, these rosters are for them, not for us. I mean, they're the ones drafting these players, and that have to have these players for the next 4 or 5 years. So we're just trying to do our part.
And Jim Nagy with us, Executive Director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. You can find him on Twitter at JimNagy_SB for, obviously, Senior Bowl. But, Jim, I want to ask you one more question. We'll leave you with this. When you're talking with scouts about NDSU, not just about Lipke or Malk, but about NDSU and the program, what are you starting to hear over these last couple of years with obviously a lot of talent going to the NFL, and now a guy like Christian Watson, who was at the Senior Bowl, having the kind of performance he's been having these last couple of weeks?
Yeah, that was really cool to see Christian break out, and it's even cooler that I was able to pick him up on my fantasy team for last night.
Right there with you on it too. Started him.
But no, and it's the sustained excellence, whatever it is up there. I think 9 of the last 11, pretty incredible. And I told the guys when I was up there, when I spoke to the team, like, it's one thing to build something. It's hard to build something, but it's harder to sustain it. And what they've been able to do up there is incredible, and it just speaks to the program and the culture. And so I think when you're an NFL team, there's a certain handful of schools that you kind of know the guy you're getting, and I think everyone in the league knows you're getting a tough guy, a competitive guy, a blue-collar guy, guys that love football, guys that are winners, they know how to win. All those things are really important. I mean, those are the things that separate the talent. I mean, you're going to have a lot of guys on a board at certain positions graded really similarly, and that's what, those are the separators. There's all the makeup stuff, and those are, so that's where NDSU, I mean, they've done such a great job that, and now there's a track record. I want to say we've had 8 NDSU players in the last 7 years. I want to say, or 7 in the last 8 years, one of the two. But it's the most FCS players of any school in the country that have come down here to Mobile, and going back to like Billy Turner and Haig and all those guys. So we've got a great little run here. Carson Wentz, obviously. They just do a great job, so you kind of know what you're getting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to say the same thing when we talk to other scouts or people that are in that draft world. I know Dane Brugler is one of them that was high on Cody Melk, says he's probably a top 50 prospect for him, at least right now. Dane Brugler of The Athletic and other people. Mel Kiper saying Hunter Lipke's that top running back, fullback on his board for this upcoming draft as well. So starting to get some love up here in Fargo over the last handful of years, no doubt about it. And someone giving NDSU some of that love is Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl. Nice enough to give us some time today on the show. Jim, really appreciate it. Thanks for giving us a little bit of time up here. I know life's busy for you, but appreciate the time, and hopefully you're coming up to Fargo again in the not-so-distant future for a few more invites.
Yeah, man, I'd love to get back up there, and appreciate you guys having me on. Have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. Jim Nagy there, nice enough to give us some time from the Reese's Senior Bowl. Today's show brought to you in part by The Spirit Shop. If you need to stock up for your favorites for watching football, The Spirit Shop has you covered with a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits at the best prices, plus great weekly specials. The Spirit Shop off 13th Avenue here in Fargo behind Shields Home and Hardware. We'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1 for you next, talking some NDSU men's basketball and what happened last night for the Herd.
Your home for the Thundering Herd. Bison 1660.
Well, here we are. The cold weather is here, and that means it's time for winter projects with Rick Electric. Hey, it's Chris Hansen. We've had Rick Electric in our home almost a dozen times. And take it from me, it's easy to see why they are the Upper Midwest electrical professionals. Rick Electric's been proudly serving the area since 1964. And if you want to make sure the power stays on this winter, they can install a Generac whole house generator with an automatic transfer switch. Schedule your appointment or get troubleshooting help at rickelectric.com.
Get ready for the region's premier ice fishing event, Shields Ice Fest, presented by Clam. This year, the tent is bigger, with 3 days to shop this Friday through Sunday at Shields on 45th Street. Register to win over $9,500 in prizes, including a guided trip to Lake Winnipeg, new inventory from Glacial Lake Snow Bear, and Outlet Recreation, plus daily giveaways, unadvertised hourly specials, and the best names in the industry under one tent. You won't want to miss this one. Shields Ice Fest, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Shields on 45th Street in Fargo.
Toss out the medicine bottle. Can't remember if I took my meds today or not. Get rid of the pill dispenser. Another chore I have to do every week. Take advantage of strip packaging. MD Pharmacy in Fargo. A totally customized, sealed daily pack of your medicine in the doses just for you. Take the guesswork and time out of getting your prescriptions. Since it's local, you don't have to wait for days for your medication to arrive. Let MD Pharmacy inside the 13th Avenue Hornbachers help with your prescriptions.
MD Pharmacy, 701-364-5690.
Hey, Brad, I feel like we've all been there around the holiday season where money is really tight and having some extra cash would really come in handy. I heard that Corwin Auto is helping stuff stockings this season. Is that right?
Yes. If you need some extra holiday cash fast, Corwin Auto will put a little extra jingle in your pocket this holiday season.
That sounds really nice. How can someone get some extra jingle in their pocket?
Corwin Auto wants to buy your used vehicle and will offer more money than ever to buy it.
So that truck that's just been collecting dust in the garage, you'll buy it?
Yes. Bring your vehicle into any Corwin location and have it appraised. Get an instant cash offer and walk about with more jingle. I mean cash on the spot.
It really sounds like there's never been a better time to sell a vehicle and get top dollar.
You are spot on. Let Corwin Auto help stuff your stockings this season. Stop by any of the 4 Corwin Auto locations today.
You heard Brant. If you need holiday cash fast, Corwin Auto will put a little extra jingle in your pocket this holiday season.
Every fan loves an explosive play on the field when someone breaks free and takes it to the house. Take that feeling anywhere with the explosive taste of Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Bud Light Seltzer is always the right call for game day. The bold flavor of the hard soda variety pack and the all-new seasonal apple slices flavors will definitely score points with your team in the tailgate zone or inside the Fargo Dome. Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
In honor of Veterans Day, Twin Peaks is celebrating those who have given the ultimate sacrifice by giving back to Tunnel to Towers. Tunnel to Towers is a foundation which helps America's heroes by providing homes to first responder families. Get to Twin Peaks and donate $5 to Tunnel to Towers through November 30th and receive $5 back to spend on yourself at Twin Peaks this December. Visit your favorite Twin Peaks for more information. Valid at participating locations. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Whether it's the FCS, NFL, or productivity at work, we have you covered.
That man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
It's the Insiders on Bison 1660.
11:56, the time here on the Insiders, a football Friday for you. This hour of The Insiders brought to you by Rick Electric. When you need electrical work, you need Rick Electric. For over 56 years, Rick Electric has been providing excellent electrical services for homes and businesses. Visit them online at rickelectric.com. Big game coming up here, obviously, with NDSU and UND. We will talk extensively about that in hour number 2 of the program. Kind of go over that, maybe a miniature like Bison game day for you, getting you ready for this big game. Obviously, it's NDSU UND, and there's a lot of implications on the line as well. You can stop by after the game for Bison Hotline up at Applebee's just north of the Fargo Dome. We'll be giving away some NDSU basketball tickets, some also some T-shirts, some mini footballs, koozies, yard signs, everything up there, plus the great food and all the specials at Applebee's. You're always eating good in the neighborhood at Applebee's, and I think I've decided. I've made a decision. I've said it all year long. This week at Applebee's for Bison Hotline with myself, James Hendricks, and Chris Hansen. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the Bourbon Street steak with an Oreo shake.
How have you not done that yet?
I was kind of saving it for this week.
I feel like you were talking about that back in August.
Yeah, I've been talking about it all year long. This is
And
the
you
build
wait
up.
until the last week of the season.
This is the build up for it. You know.
Make sure they play the song, please, over the.
Okay, we'll get somebody.
Yeah, you got to
play like a rejoin coming out of break.
Yeah, got to.
Right there with you. So that'll be what I'm enjoying at Applebee's here this week. But also great food coming out there. Bison Hotline home this year, all year long has been Applebee's just north of the Fargo Dome. Great location. They've already re-upped for next year because they loved it so much. So I know it's going to be a great crowd on hand when you got home game, NDSU UND. Probably going to be a pretty good crowd there at Applebee's. So make sure you stop by afterwards, after the game. You won't be able to get out of the parking lot. So just walk on over.
Yeah.
Get out of the cold.
I can't get out of the parking lot half the time, and I'm like one of the last people to leave. Well, I can get out of the parking lot, but then it takes me 45 minutes to get home sometimes. So.
Exactly. So just walk over to Applebee's instead. Enjoy the great food, enjoy the show, and then go back when the parking lot's a little more empty.
There you go.
Totally fine. That's the way to do it. So that is the new home here this season for Bison Hotline. It's been a great experience. Stop by there on Saturday. Micah, I'll turn it over to you here because we did get some people asking, so what's the deal with NDSU men's basketball and wanting to kind of have a little bit of a conversation. They played last night on the road against a Missouri Valley opponent. This is a good team. Indiana State's a quality opponent. By all means, a very good team. A team they did beat at home last season. Return trip of a home and home in this one, going to Terre Haute. They lose last night by 26, 101-75. A team that is not accustomed to giving up 100 points has now done it basically in back-to-back games, giving up close to 100 last game and then 100 in this one against Terre Haute, or in Terre Haute against Indiana State. You're on, producing the games. You're there with Rob Hipp, who obviously is calling the games, and you're doing pre and post game for those games as well. So I'll give you the first opportunity just to kind of have your thoughts on it's just 3 games. At the end of the day, these are 3 non-conference games. Does not matter at all for your conference standings, your seeding for the conference tournament, your ability to win that conference tournament, or anything like that. But just your first couple of thoughts on these first few games.
Just my initial thoughts from last night's game. It seemed like the bucket was 10 feet wide for Indiana State. They were making tough shots. It's not that they were wide open. They were making tough shots. They shot over 60% in the first half. They couldn't miss in the first half. They cooled down in the second half a little bit, but Corvassier McCauley was insanely hot all night. He ended up with a career-high 30 points for Indiana State. He was a transferred-in senior. It just seems like on the defensive end, it's tough for him right now, but we know what the identity of NDSU men's basketball is and what Dave Richmond wants the team's identity to be, and that's defense, and I believe it'll get there. And I think some of the quotes that Dave Richmond talked about, it's the pain in the process. And this non-conference schedule, I think that's going to be kind of like the process as they get into the conference schedule. They're already learning. They constantly learn from these games, and I don't know. I felt like they weren't outplayed as much as they were against Pacific. I felt like Pacific outplayed them more than Indiana State outplayed them. I just think Indiana State was making insanely tough shots all game.
Okay.
Yeah, an Indiana State shot, I'm looking at it right now, almost 50% from the floor for the game, 36% from three-point land. And, it's interesting in college basketball. And I know you guys had Dexter Werner on, and he was talking about this. And obviously you never want to lose games. You don't want to start the season 0-4. But the Summit League, because it is a one-bid league, these losses don't matter as much. Now, obviously, it's you get into seeding for the tournament, but you have to win the tournament, right? So as long as you can learn and you can get better from these games, they don't matter as much. It's not like a football schedule where these 4 losses are going to come back to bite you at the end. They could, But it really comes down to what can you do in the tournament. And I know that's not what fans want to hear right now. They're frustrated. Start the season with 4 losses, but that's got to be the positive spin on this, right? Is can you learn from this? Can you get better, like Mike is talking about? Can you use the pain of this process to improve your team going into Summit League play and then ultimately into the tournament?
Yeah, and this is a team that has young pieces, and I think they're still learning how to play at the college level. And frankly, when you got a lot of young players, the thing that usually takes the longest to get accustomed to is the defensive side. I mean, if you have a player who's a great shooter, if you can shoot, you can shoot, right? Now, are those shots going to be more contested? Are they going to be more difficult? Yes. So that's a change. But if you can shoot, you can shoot. Whereas defensively, if you can play really good defense in high school, does not mean you can play really good defense against grown men who might be 23, 24, or even now 25 with all these COVID years and everything.
And I think again, this is coming from someone who only played high school basketball, but I think the communication process when it comes to the defensive end of the floor is so much different when you get into the college level. You get into Division I, you play some of these good teams in the Missouri Valley. There's so much more goes. How are you going to defend ball screens? Are you switching? Are you not switching? In our zone, are we communicating right? Who's got this guy? I mean, there's so much, and obviously Dave Richmond could talk to this much better than I could, but there's so much that goes into the communication piece of being a good defensive team, and then obviously the effort of it too. Those are things that I think this young team is learning.
And I don't think the team is lacking effort. That's not an issue with the Dave Richmond coach team. It's not the effort. But one bugaboo that the team has right now is slow starts. They're getting outscored pretty badly in the first half, but their second halves are much better. And Tejavis Miller keyed in on that. He's like, we're just waking up too late. We're getting off to a slow start, and then we're having to fight back. But it's tough out of the gates, but it's something that they're working towards.
Again, these games don't really matter for the conference. Now, I will say, if you win the conference tournament, these games do matter because that affects, are you going to be a 16 seed, a 15, a 14? That makes your life more difficult in the the NCAA tournament. In terms of getting into the tournament, these games don't matter for that because of the conference tournament. If you win it, you're in, and that's what the Summit League is at this point. And some of the other teams in the league haven't looked extremely impressively either. So there's a little bit of the bright side there. I'll never count out a Dave Richmond coach team in November. I just won't. I mean, I've seen it too many times where they pick it up, they figure some things out defensively. It's a young team that's got to learn. They didn't have the overseas trip like NDSU women's basketball had. I think that plays a factor into this thing as well when you got a lot of new faces. They'll figure it out defensively. I like the offense. They're scoring. They can score some points now. Just got to figure out the defensive side. And when they get that figured out a little bit better, which I believe they will. Coach Richmond's always done that. Dave Richmond coach teams have always been good on the defensive side. Eventually, I think they can get there. It's going to take some work. So stick with them. Come conference season, I think you're going to see a lot different team there on the court for Bison men's basketball. Hour number 2 coming to you next here live inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Talk plenty of NDSU, UND, NFL games as well. And do you want an outdoor stadium in Fargo? Because there was some news on an outdoor stadium in the NFL and game getting moved. A little bit of a split in the fan base. We'll go over that poll question, a whole lot more here. Hour number 2 on a Friday coming to you next.
Your brilliant proposal starts with Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry, your source for mined and certified lab-grown diamonds. Looking to create a custom engagement ring? Our team of jewelry experts will help you create that perfect ring, mesmerizing her, creating an heirloom to be cherished for a lifetime. Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry, 3241 42nd Street South, Fargo. Online at schmittsjewelry.com.
Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry.
Theraldson Ethanol, the ethanol plant located in Castleton, North Dakota, is accepting applications for a process operator. Work 4 days on and 4 days off, night and day swing shifts. Applicant must have a general understanding of process and operating procedures and a willingness to learn procedures for the ethanol industry. Theraldson Ethanol offers on-the-job training and an excellent benefits program. Email your resume to hr@theraldsonethanol.com or apply in person at 3549 153rd Avenue Southeast in Castleton.
Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, proudly serving Bison Nation with reliable insurance coverage for your auto, farm, and home. Powered by unmatched financial strength and a prompt claim service team, let us put our more than 130 years of industry experience to work for you. Visit fmne.com to contact your local agent for a quote today. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
When it's time to make your next move, turn to Todd Kettermas with Beyond Realty to put the full court press on your home search. Whether you're looking for a quiet home in the suburbs or something downtown, let Todd Kettermas run the point for you in the search for your dream home. Call Todd Kettermas with Beyond Realty today or visit him at 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Kettermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Truck Headquarters. Gateway Chevrolet has new Chevy trucks arriving daily. Buy your new Chevy Silverado at Invoice. Yes, Invoice pricing on new Silverados with a fresh look, new interiors, and larger screens with easy-to-use technology. Save thousands on new Chevy Silverados with 4 different motors available. Dynamic fuel management, Bluetooth, backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and more. Save thousands and enjoy the smooth ride in your new Chevy Silverado from Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Sports. And here's what you need to know.
Starting to get some player availability information for this weekend in the NFL. Jets head coach Robert Saleh said receiver Corey Davis is out against the Patriots. NFL media reporting that Commanders defensive end Chase Young might have to wait another week to make his season debut coming off that ACL injury. Bills coach Sean McDermott ruled out defensive back Tre'Davious White, linebacker Tremaine Edmonds, and defensive end Greg Rousseau. The Bills, by the way, had to cancel practice today with snow now falling in western New York, and that storm is impacting college football as well. The MAC has postponed Saturday's game between Akron and Buffalo. The conference says it might play the game on Sunday if the weather improves. Early this morning, Titans offensive coordinator Todd Downing was arrested for DUI and speeding in Tennessee's Williamson County. He was released on bond. In a statement, the Titans say they are aware of the situation and gathering more information. I'm Nick Cope.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proseed. Need seed? Think Proseed. Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders. The Insiders. Insiders. The Insiders.
Andy Rickoff and Bison great Kyle Emanuel.
Hour number 2 on a Friday for you. Football Friday edition of the Insiders. Andy Rickoff, Kyle Emanuel with you. Rob Hipp rejoins the show on Monday. Back in with us. Some time away. Short week for us next week. Obviously, Thanksgiving is upon us. Hard to believe that's kind of snuck up on you real quickly. But that is next week. So we'll have shows for you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Best ofs Thursday and Friday for you next week of the Insiders. But we'll be back in with you live for a couple of shows next week. And then the men and the women are both on the road next weekend with games on the road, some kind of tournaments happening. The women are on the road down in Reno. They take on Boise State and Nevada. Another chance for some pretty impressive early season wins for this Bison women's basketball team next week. The Bison men are also on the road for a Thanksgiving holiday tournament. They have 3 games. They face Northern Colorado, New Mexico, and Jacksonville State at the Lobo Classic in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's on the 25th, 26th, and 27th for Bison men's basketball. So a full slate there during the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, basically, for everybody. And that should be a fun time for both the men and for the women. And I know on Thursday we're going to be watching just a lot of football and eating a lot of food. So it's going to be great.
No rest for you, right? Got to work over the weekend.
We will actually be traveling Thanksgiving morning.
I will be in beautiful Austin, Texas, so I'll be thinking about you, Andy.
A little bit warmer for you.
Going down to see my brother over Thanksgiving.
Well, good for you.
Thank you. Should be fun.
Now that you're not playing football, not that you let yourself go, you're still in great shape. You look phenomenal. But Thanksgiving food, do you dive into a little bit more? Smorgasbord?
No, I don't. I always
Okay.
dive in. I mean, when you're playing football, you got to keep the calorie intake up anyway, right?
Did you ever play on Thanksgiving?
I did in Dallas.
Okay.
It was awesome. Family came down, beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving in Dallas. It was awesome. I mean, that stadium is amazing. It was one of my favorites to play in. And then throw in the fact that it was Thursday, Thanksgiving. Obviously, the Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving.
Did you play the second game of it, like in middle of the day?
I think it's a second game.
Yeah,
I think
because the Lions are always
yeah.
first.
I believe we were second, yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of in the middle. Some people say they like playing, if you're playing Detroit and you're playing that first one, it's good because you're done and then you can have Thanksgiving still with your family.
Yeah, we kind of had the team did a good job of, kind of giving us a Thanksgiving type dinner. I think either the night before or 2 days before. So still got to enjoy it. The family all came down. My brother, like I said, brother lives in Texas. He came to the game, so it was a great experience playing at Thanksgiving. I believe that was the only time I did it.
Okay, there you go. And hopefully we'll be just watching football and not have to think about any sort of game next weekend as well.
That's the plan.
That is the plan. And obviously that comes down to the game here this weekend with NDSU and UND. This hour, we're devoting it to that game.
Let's do it.
Getting you ready for NDSU UND tomorrow inside the Fargo Dome. 2:30 kickoff from the Dome means we start bright and early with the Bison Report Show at 8:30 with Ross Uglum and Micah Bindi on that show as well. But so that's our coverage tomorrow. Starts at 8:30. Then you got the Bison Tailgate Show, which would start at 10:30. Bison Game Day starts at 11:30 with myself and James Hendricks from the tailgate lot on the bus. And then network coverage 1 hour before kickoff at 1:30 before kickoff inside the Fargo Dome at Gate City Bank Field. So if you got thoughts on it out there, send them to us. Text them to us, 701-476-1660. You can also call that same number, the Epic Companies hotline. You can email the show, studio at bison1660.com, how you can be involved in this hour. Want your thoughts, want your opinions, how the Bison get this win. We'll start off by saying, obviously it's an in-state rivalry. There's a lot of implications to it. NDSU wins, you're a top 4 seed. UND wins, they could be seeded. If UND loses, there's a chance they're out of the playoffs. I don't think they should be, personally.
Might come down to a coin flip.
Maybe
I had to throw that in there.
It actually might come down to a coin flip.
Or might,
OVC.
for Montana, maybe it might come down to that for them, too.
There's a lot of games with a lot of implications on them here this week, but this is definitely one of them with NDSU and UND to decide not just teams in, but seeded teams and where some teams might land overall. So when you add up all that stuff, there's a lot of implications to this one on top of what you want to win just because it's an in-state rivalry.
There is, and I kind of get the sense, and you kind of got it early on from Coach Ensign, what he said, not only after the game against Southern, but in his press conference as well. Look, I think this team understands it's a rivalry, especially we had the history, yesterday we had Throwback Thursday and everything that's gone on in this rivalry, but you kind of get the sense that the motivation more comes from the fact that it's senior week. It's the last regular season home game for a group of seniors, and all the things that you just laid out there, Andy, is all the things on the line. So yes, the in-state rivalry is going to be a source of motivation, but I don't think it's going to be the only source for this team. They understand it doesn't matter who you're playing at this point. They could be playing Western Illinois in this game. They have to win it, or I think their mindset is we have to win it, or we're playing on Thanksgiving weekend. Now we'll see how that would play out if something like that did happen. But that's going to be the mindset of this team is going, and this is my opinion, but it's not so much that it's just North Dakota. Obviously, the rivalry plays a factor, but it's more so everything that's on the line for them. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You have to win this game, and it comes back to the old cliche that we hear every week. You got to go 1-0, and especially this week, you have to go 1-0 to give yourself that easier path to where you ultimately want to end up being, and that's obviously Frisco, Texas in January.
Do you try and block that stuff out? Is it easy to block out? They've got to know it. The players
the rivalry
gotta know
part
that.
of it?
No, the implications. You got to know that at least a little bit that, okay, if we win this game, we're for sure not some of that stuff of maybe playing on Thanksgiving, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think once you get into the game, you have to.
Yeah.
At that point, you just have to go play. And I think you have to use it. It's kind of a fine line, right? Like you have to use it for a little bit of motivation. That's got to be a talking point throughout this week, but you don't want to let it cloud your mind. You don't want to let it be something that you're out there, you're trying to play so perfect and not screw up that you end up playing slow and you end up playing below the level that you're capable of. So I think it's a little bit of a fine line, I think. But once you get out there, and I told my kids this that I coach when they're playing the state championship. Once the game starts, the whistle blows, the ball is kicked. It's just a football game, and so there always has to be that aspect of it. Whether it's this game, whether it's a national championship game, at the end of the day, it's still a football game. Go out there, cut it loose. Don't play like you're scared to lose. Again, the old sports cliche, go play to win the game. And it doesn't matter what the implications are. Just go out there and play and, let the chips fall where they may after that.
Yeah, easier said than done a little bit.
For sure.
But once you're playing, I do feel like you don't really have time to think about
No.
anything else. You got to think about what's this play? What are we in? What are they in? Where's this guy lining up? What do I have to do? Where are my as you guys call them, your P's and Q's, basically, right?
Yeah, your run fits, and I talked about this with what UND does offensively, and it's interesting because I think there will be some carryover from what they saw a week ago. I think the quarterbacks are similar, honestly. If you look at them on film, now Schuster's a little bit taller. I think he's listed at 6 foot. Nick Baker was only listed at 5'9", but both of them are capable of extending plays with their legs. Both of them have decent arms. They're not going to jump off the page with their arm talent, but they're both obviously capable. I've talked enough about Tommy Schuster's completion percentage. He's 4th in the nation at 71%. So you got similar quarterbacks. I think even similar offenses in what they want to do RPO-wise, faking the run a lot and hand the ball off if the look is there, throw the ball out to Bo Belquist. And another guy I should mention, and he's not talked about a lot, but I liked what I saw from his number 18, Red Wilson. That's a guy to keep your eye on. He's kind of the jet motion guy, the sweep guy. They'll hand it off to him on reverses. A guy that he's dangerous with the ball in his hand. So they have a number of weapons offensively, and I've talked about what they do defensively. I think they're going to blitz like 80% of the time, maybe more, maybe not. But when they're not blitzing, they're constantly moving defensive linemen, and that's nothing new. NDSU is used to that, but they present enough challenges where once you get into the game, there's no thinking about playing on Thanksgiving. There's no thinking about playoff seeds. You just got to go out and handle your business.
Matt Encian again emailed in yesterday. I wanted to save this email
Matt
till
Entz,
today.
right?
Yeah, Encian. Who knows who this guy is? We have no idea. How far do you think NDSU would fall if they lose to UND, which would be the second home loss this season? I think they would fall to Thanksgiving weekend. I do. Three losses. One of them an FBS loss against Arizona, so it's really just 2 losses at the FCS level, but their wins would not be against any playoff teams other than North Carolina A&T, which actually will be they're going to be an auto bid.
Who would have thought
that? Who would have thought that would be the prize you hang your hat on a little bit, but I think they would fall to Thanksgiving. Is it a guarantee? No, not necessarily. Depends on what happens with some other games out there. You're hoping for Samford to lose. If you're NDSU, if they lose to Mercer, you're not worried about getting in the playoffs. So let Mercer get a bid, but knock Samford out of the seed conversation. That'd be a big help. If you can get some of the other teams at the back end of those seeded conversations.
Does Montana State winning, would that be a help? Does Montana come into the seed
I
argument
don't
at
think
8-3? I don't think so either.
I don't think they should be in the seeded argument.
No, they'd be 7-4. Sorry.
Yeah,
never mind.
They would not be a seed no matter what happens for them. So I don't think that game matters a whole lot because I think Montana State's going to be safe no matter what happens as well. I think they'll be a seeded team.
Think so too.
Maybe if they lose, you can make the argument they lost that game and they probably shouldn't have won the Weber State game with the 4 safeties on the bad punts, or bad snaps on punts, but they still won the game, so I think they would be safe. But you're hoping for Sanford, some of the other teams at the back end of the seeded spot, some of your CAA teams to lose. Richmond and William & Mary, the loser of that game probably isn't getting a seed. The winner probably is going to get a seed, so someone's got to lose that game. Just don't hope for a tie, I guess. Stuff like that could impact the back. But if you lose to UND, I think the other thing is UND and NDSU would have basically the same resume, and UND would have the head-to-head. So then UND might be the team that gets the seed. They get the top 8, and you're not going to have 3 teams from the Valley in the top 8. You're just not going to.
I think it's safe to say that it is unlikely that they are seeded if they don't get the job done on Saturday.
Yeah.
And who knows what? Like you said, there's a lot of things. It's kind of a fun. It's going to be a fun bracket show for you and Cole, by the way. But it's an interesting bubble. It could potentially be an interesting top 8. So we don't know exactly how it's going to fall. But if you're NDSU, you got to just take care of business here and not leave it to chance.
Yep, take care of business, get the job done. If you win the game, you're a top 4 seed in my mind. I think they will be based off of.
I do too.
Even if Samford gets the win, I think NDSU's just the resume's there. We've seen the committee kind of favors teams that are past champions, have the name recognition. Sam Houston didn't really have any good wins a year ago, and they were the number 1 seed because they were the returning champions.
Yep,
but
that was basically their only criteria.
Yeah,
they're 1 because they won a year ago.
And they didn't lose any games, but they didn't face
But they didn't play it.
Exactly.
Anyone.
We'll have to ask Matt Larson if anything does come down to a coin flip in the playoff committee room where they're just like, okay, who are we going to decide as the seed, 4 or 5? Coin flip.
Coin flip.
It might be.
Maybe it does.
I
hope it doesn't.
Maybe it plays a bigger factor than just the Ohio Valley.
That's actually how they decide the bracket. They flip a coin for everything.
It seems like it sometimes.
Yeah, that's how I do an NCAA bracket, actually. Flip a coin. Sometimes the coin's more accurate than me actually trying to predict the thing, and I think I know what I'm talking about. So.
Off topic, just because it's a coin. Has anybody seen the Jets schedule? Somebody did a coin for the Jets schedule, and it's actually 100% correct so far this season, predicting wins or losses for the Jets by flipping a
I've
coin.
not seen
I did not see that.
Off topic, but it was a coin.
Okay, very off topic, but that does make a little bit of sense with
Point
the coin
taken.
flip stuff.
There we go.
By the way, Matt Larson, you bring up Matt Larson. He is on the committee this year for the FCS playoffs. He's actually, I believe, flying out some point today. They're meeting starting today to decide, okay, what's the bracket look like now? What games play at implication? What teams could move what way? They're figuring that stuff out, I believe, starting today. He will be there on the committee. He will join us. I've asked Matt to join us. He said he will be able to give us some time when they are done with their process right around noon Central Time. He'll be able to give us some time when our Bison Bracket Show is happening from 11:30 to 12:30 on Sunday afternoon, Sunday midday, whatever you want to call it. Myself and Cole Jarrett, 11:30 to 12:30. We will be going over the bracket. It's going to be revealed on ESPNU. Your chance to watch it there. We'll be reacting right alongside you guys. As it's being revealed, we'll let you know what happens there and see where NDSU falls on it. And then Matt Larson will also be joining us later on in that program. Again, the Bison Bracket Show, 11:30, 12:30 on Sunday, brought to you by a Cutting Edge Gallery of Jewelry. A Cutting Edge Gallery of Jewelry wants to make your Christmas sparkle extra bright with beautiful diamond earrings, necklaces, ruby, and sapphire rings, plus so much more. And right now, everything is on sale. And at a Cutting Edge Gallery of Jewelry, that means huge savings for you. Let's jump over to the Epic Companies hotline right now. Jim in Fargo giving us a call on the Epic Companies hotline. Jim, you're here with us on the Insiders. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, I got a couple things, but like tomorrow's game, you know UND's selling out for the run. Well, back when they played South Dakota State, how great that first half was, throw. I did not understand when they came back after halftime and ran the ball. I mean, the wheel wasn't broke. Why? There's nothing to fix. Keep going. Like Kyle said earlier, play to win. I know he was on the defensive side of the ball, but in the halftime meetings, are you hearing anything from the offensive side, or are you guys completely away from them so you don't even know what they're talking about?
What do you mean there, Jim?
Well, as far as, the offense, okay, now we're going to run the ball. Well, it should have been 28-7 at half against South Dakota State.
Yep.
And they got there by throwing the ball. They come out in the second half, they threw it 5 times. Why change the script when the first half was going so good the way you were playing?
Gotcha. Understand. Yeah, I thought you were talking about UND SDSU game. Now I get it was the NDSU SDSU game, and I agree with you. Probably should have been 28-7 at the half at that unfortunate interception from Cole Payton. I'll let you go over that, Kyle, because you saw that. Obviously, I was there for the game too, but you being a former player, that second half, what did you see in terms of the game plan?
Well, yeah, I mean, to answer Jim's first question, no, when I was playing, I had zero idea what the offensive players or what the offensive staff was making adjustments. We were actually in our own room. The defensive line, we were in our own separate room. No idea what their adjustments were. Honestly, didn't really care either. We had our own things to worry about. In that game, going back, I mean, obviously, my memories of that second half was you just needed one side of the ball to find a way to sustain a drive, to get off the field, and it just didn't happen. Now, as far as the play calling, now we're going back a couple of weeks. I don't remember. I know there was at times you probably could have thrown the ball, and I know that fans are tired of people saying this, but that is the identity of NDSU. So yeah, you can question play calling. I know it's the easy thing to always look at, but this feels like a game where I think NDSU will be balanced. I think they feel like this probably against most teams. They feel like they can run the ball. I mentioned all the blitzes at times. That's going to leave corners on islands. So I think that's going to open up the play action game. I think you'll see a good balanced attack from NDSU in this game, and I think that's what it's going to take. And again, this is a UND team that's given up 29 points, so it's not. This is my opinion. I think it's a defense you can get after at times. And talking about SDSU, I thought he was talking about UND SDSU as well. UND in that game, the biggest turnaround was turnovers. Mm-hmm. And I know we could mention that every single week, but they started turning the ball over. And to me, it looked like it kind of completely changed their offense. They start turning the ball over, they start panicking a little bit, get more into drop-back passes, want to get chunk plays rather than just their normal kind of dink and dunk down the field, being patient. They got out of that as well. So it feels like one of those games. I know you could say this every week too, but it feels like one of those games you got to get off to a fast start. Use the Fargo Dome crowd. Get some false starts on their side of the ball. Get them behind and force them to do some things that they necessarily don't want to.
Yeah, look at the SDSU UND game. UND was leading 21-14 at the half. UND had the lead on the Jacks in Grand Forks. 21 points in the third quarter for SDSU.
And it was turnovers. It was turnovers. There was the pick six. I think that might have actually happened in the first half, but there was a pick six. There was a fumble deep in UND's own territory. That really flipped the game. After that, UND couldn't get anything going for them.
Yeah, had a pick six in the first quarter. 31-yard interception return for a touchdown for SDSU. Got them on the board, but had a couple of turnovers in the game. Turned it over some more in that second half. SDSU really got the ground game going. Had touchdowns from Gronowski from 1 yard and 10 yards out on the ground. Had an Amar Johnson touchdown run in that game as well. So the ground game really came to life, and from scoring 14 points in the first half to scoring 49 for the game, you can tell the offense really took off there. So we said that yesterday. UND's given up a lot of yards through the air. A lot of them, over 280, I believe, through the air per game this year. They've been a little bit better against the run. You feel like they do have to sell out, though, to stop NDSU's run. You feel like that's something they have to. That's what they've given up a lot of yards on the ground in the last two meetings, so you feel like they're going to have to try and sell out there.
And I thought early on last year in that game, they did a good job of it with some of the movements, with some of the blitzes, and not knowing where they're going to come from. You know, the interesting about UND is a lot of their pressures are actually more four-man pressures because they have a three-man front. You just don't know where that fourth rusher is going to come from. So it doesn't really feel like a blitz, but it kind of is because you line up five guys on the line of scrimmage and then one's going to drop out, but you don't know who it's going to be. So, yeah, it feels like they're going to sell it to stop the run, and I think most teams do that. Obviously, NDSU is different. There's just not a lot of teams that run the ball, and that's why we've seen some teams that come into the game with pretty good stats against the run, but have they seen a team that's going to stay committed to it? And what Jim is talking about, I know he's frustrated there, but there's been games that NDSU has won because they've struggled at times to run the ball, but they don't abandon it. They know their identity, they know what they're good at, and they keep doing it. Unfortunately, in that SDSU game, it just didn't happen. Couldn't move the chains, couldn't get the ground game rolling in that second half.
And about the running the ball and being aggressive and throwing it, I get that. Throwing the ball, getting the big play is the aggressive way to play. It's also somewhat dangerous, so that's how you get some of those turnovers and interceptions. What were the two best drives for NDSU last week against Southern?
Running the ball.
They ran the ball and scored touchdowns. On a 10-play drive for 69 yards.
They threw the ball one time in that
13-play drive for 75 yards, both of them resulting in touchdowns.
Yep.
Those are the two best drives. Now, can NDSU throw the ball? Yes, they can. And the weather did play a factor these last 2 weeks. Let's throw that in there, too. There were 40-mile-per-hour winds against Western Illinois and 30-mile-per-hour winds against Southern Illinois. So there was a little bit of wind factor. That's not going to be the case inside the dome. Do I think we'll see some of the passing game? I do, because I think this is a team where you can beat them through the air a bit and a chance for you to get some of those plays through the air. End of the day, this team's built on running. Tamarick Williams and Kobe Johnson are going to get a lot of touches. Not Hunter Lipke, obviously, but I think the running game with the quarterbacks, Cam Miller and Cole Payton, also going to get a good amount of reps there for those two guys on the ground. So running game's what this team is built on. I'm absolutely fine with it. You just have to execute.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to.
Live and die by what your identity is. This team knows what they do. And like you said last week, it was they had Southern did what basically NDSU does to teams in the first half. They controlled the clock. They ran the ball okay. Now a lot of that was aided by Nick Baker kind of scrambling around, but then NDSU flipped a script. And like you just mentioned there, Andy, those two drives, those were classic North Dakota State football drives. Control the clock, control the ball on the ground, use the passing game when you need to convert some third downs. That's what they were able to do, and that's what they're going to have to do again this week.
And they did that against Southern. They did throw. They had a couple of big third downs. Found Christian Watson. They found Lippy. They found Zach Mathis on a big one as well. A big time, I think it was 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, and they found Zach Mathis for a first down. So the passing game is there. I'm not saying it's complementary or that you're trying to manage anything with the passing game, but when you're able to run the ball effectively and then you can find guys on third down, come up with big plays in the passing game when you need it, that's exactly how this offense is usually their most successful. So that running game definitely going to be a key in this one for the Bison. Our keys to the game are brought to you by Consolidated Communications. Consolidated Communications has the only data center in the area that is SOC 2 certified with tested, reliable systems in place to protect your valuable data. For scalable, cost-effective data center solutions for your changing business needs, go to consolidated.com/data center. And this hour of The Insider is brought to you by Wimmer's Diamonds. Wimmer's Diamonds, a local family-owned jeweler serving and believing in this community for over 100 years. Stop in and see them at their new showroom at 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo. We'll take a break. More of your phone calls, emails, and texts when we come back. Football Friday, NDSU UND, hour number 2 of the Insiders.
North Dakota State football plays here. Bison 1660.
Proceed experience is the people that we're working with, the hands-on. We're not a super large company, but we're a hands-on dealing with customers. I know most of these fields because of the time I've been covering this area. In many cases, I've covered with up to the 3rd generation of operators on the farm, from grandpa down to the son that's being handed over to now, and we build our business on service. You take care of the customer and they take care of you.
Need seed? Think Proceed. Proceed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Are you an electrician? Are you looking for a change? JDP Electric is looking for commercial, industrial, and service electricians. JDP is looking for both journeyman and apprentice electricians. You could start your career today with a family-owned and operated business who's been serving our community for over 20 years. Full-time positions available with great pay and benefits. Call 701-232-1991 or email info@jdpelectric.net. Start your new tomorrow today. Come be a part of the JDP difference.
Looking to buy a new Ford in the months ahead? Then you should be checking out Muscatel Burns Ford. You'll enjoy Muscatel's stellar award-winning service. And be sure to ask about special finance terms and $500 order cash available now on select Bronco, Edge, and Explorer models. Muscatel's has a good selection of pre-owned models too. So stop in today. Muscatel Burns Ford, just 20 minutes from Moorhead on Highway 10 in Hawley. Hey, get your next Ford from Ward.
About a month ago, we had some unexpected plumbing issues. We called Valley Service Mechanical in a panic and were pleasantly surprised with the professional that came to our rescue. He took the time to explain the issues to us, and you could really tell he enjoyed what he was doing and the pride he had representing Valley Service Mechanical.
When your heating and cooling needs help and your plumbing is on the fritz, call Valley Service Mechanical, 701-293-5701. Online at valleyservice.net.
If you're looking for a towing company that has graduated to the next level, you're looking for All Pro Towing. All Pro Towing specializes in heavy duty and light duty recovery. All Pro Towing is there for lockouts and jump starts and tire changes. Plus, they're available 24/7 for all emergencies. So when you're looking for a real pro, you need All Pro Towing. Save their number for when you need a tow. 701-541-3900.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
A cool Friday with highs struggling to reach 19. Overnight, a 40% chance of snow, mainly before midnight, then cloudy with lows around 4. And on your Saturday, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-teens.
This weather update brought to you by Minn Kota Windows. Just when your kids thought it was time to head outside, a cold snap rolls in. Ditch the coat and snuggle up with peace of mind, knowing that Minn Kota's energy-efficient vinyl will block out the brutal cold and save you money. Midwest built, Midwest tough. Guaranteed for life.
Here for you for all the Bison football coverage you can handle.
These guys do an unbelievable job, and you want to know what's going on in Bison sports? Tune into the Insiders.
The Insiders on Bison 1660 and 92.7 FM.
Welcome back to the Insiders, hour number 2 for you. All of our game day and game week coverage of NDSU and UND has been brought to you and will be brought to you tomorrow by the great crew at Nodak Insurance Company. Nodak Insurance Company are a game week sponsor of all things NDSU and UND, and they are the agents with answers online at nodakins.com. And you can save big right now on your car insurance premiums by enrolling in their Drive for Less program. Just download the Nodak Insurance app and enroll in the Drive for Less program right now from Nodak Insurance Company to start saving today. Again, online at nodakins.com. Andy Rickoff, Kyle Emanuel in here with you. A couple of players I would say have to have big games for NDSU to have success in this game. I kind of look on the two players on both sides of the ball. I think Cam Miller's got to be good. Not a shocker. You need a quarterback to always be good. I get that. But I think not only, taking care of the football, like he's done a great job of all year, been phenomenal at taking care of the football, but on top of that, getting some plays downfield, attacking the middle of this defense for UND, which is a little bit suspect in my opinion, where you can get some yards down the field to lighten the box and force them to play a little bit further off, so guys like Tamarick Williams, Kobe Johnson have some bigger running lanes. I think he's got to be really good. I'm going to go with someone like Hunter Brosio.
Oh, you stole mine.
Okay, I did.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's a good one.
That's what I wanted to do. You're obviously going to try and replace what Hunter Lipke does in terms of the blocking. You can't really replace Hunter Lipke, but Brosio is going to be a key for them in the running game. He's going to be that lead blocker a little bit for him. I think they will use some more, tight ends. They have a ton of tight ends and fullbacks. That's the thing. I mean, Truman Rehrmeyer's been really good. Logan Hofstad. They got a whole bunch of guys that play at that tight end / fullback position that will help lead the way. But I think Brosio is going to be the guy that kind of takes over in that position for the most part this week.
Yeah, I think they'll just ask more of him. Like I said, I don't think they're going to ask him to replace Hunter Lipke, but they're going to ask a little bit more of him, more in the blocking game, more in picking up some of those stunts and blitzes that I've been talking about. Maybe a couple passes out of the backfield, leak him out. That's not a guy they're necessarily going to be keying on. So I think that's a good pick there. I think Hunter Brosio is going to have a good game. The one on the other side out, and not one guy, but I think the corners will have to play well in this game. I've talked about Tommy Schuster, I talked about Red Wilson, obviously Bo Belquist. They have some very capable receivers, and they like to get the ball out of his hands quick and let those guys go. So I think, obviously, in the pass game, corners have to always be playing well, but there might be some times we've seen it before. NDSU asks their corners to step up and be the edge of the defense and be involved in the run fit. So I think the corners on the other side of the ball on the defensive side, I think the corners, there's 4 of them that feel like that play. But Courtney Eubanks, Marquise Siegel, Destin Talbert, Jaden Price, I think all 4 of those guys have to play well on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I would go with you with the corners. I was going to say Courtney Eubanks has to have a good game, but you could go with any of the corners there. Yep. Bo Belquist, really good receiver. They'll get the ball to him in space. There's going to be some one-on-one opportunities. And I think that for some fans out there, that worries you a little bit because was the tackling good enough? I think the tackling's been a lot better.
It has been improved.
Since the bye week, I would say. Especially guys in the secondary have been tackling much better in those one-on-one open field tackles that you just got to have because if you don't get it, it turns into a 15, 20-yard play or even sometimes into a touchdown. So that's an area you got to be good. And then I would think defensively as well, I'll go again with someone on the outside. Spencer Wage's really good, but LaShaka Rokes, Tony Pierce, somebody else on the outside, can you make an impact and really get to Tommy Schuster? We saw it with Nick Baker. I think that interception to Dawson Weber, Baker was frustrated. Baker was a little bit like, oh, gosh, what's happening here? A little bit all over the place, having to scramble a bit, and that kind of forced him into a pick. If you can force Tommy Schuster into an uncomfortable pocket, you can force him into interception.
I think you can, yeah. He's at times he's done a really good job of protecting the ball, but we just highlighted the South Dakota State game, and the pick six, I actually watched it, and it was just a really well-read play by the South Dakota State defender. I don't know if you can really – you have to put it on the quarterback because you can't put it on anyone else, but it was just tough. But there's times you'll throw the ball up, and, like you just said, Nick Baker threw it up in a tight window. It looked like they were sitting in cover 2, and you have to fit it over the corner but underneath the safety, and it was a ball that probably shouldn't have been thrown. And that's why pass rush and the secondary go hand in hand, because you have to be able to affect the quarterback, and that's going to be one of my keys to the game. Little foreshadowing there for a little tease for you. Was one of my keys to the game. You have to find a way to affect him, and sometimes that's hard to do if it's a lot of quick game. If you're not just going to sit back in the pocket in the 5-step drop and sit back there and let the pass rushers go, it can be frustrating at times as a D lineman, but you got to find a way to do it. And it's not always just sacks, like you said. If you can frustrate a quarterback, if you can show them tight windows in the back end, that's when you can get these quarterbacks into situations they don't want to be in and maybe force a turnover. As we said, turnover is always key. And 3 is usually the goal for NDSU, and if they can get to 3, you got to like their chances.
Yeah, turnovers, obviously a key to the game. Any game it is, but if you can force some turnovers in this game, I think you can get UND kind of frustrated a little bit. And I don't know if I think it's a game where you don't have as many opportunities as well. So if you take some of those opportunities away with some interceptions or fumbles, that's definitely going to be a key to this one. Always a key to the game. A Consolidated Communications key to the game. Consolidated Communications provides powerful customer-focused communication solutions for businesses of all sizes. Contact Consolidated Communications for business data, cloud service, voice, network security, or a variety of digital workplace solutions for your business. Let's go back to the Epic Companies hotline right now. Al giving us a call. Wants to talk about what the Bison have to do to win. Al, you're here with us on the Insiders.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Always appreciate the show, and just like to throw out, you guys were asking, what do the Bison have to do to get a win? And I think, we've had some games this year where we didn't play 4 quarters of football. We started out fast against South Dakota, Southern Illinois, and then we cooled off, but, it was a little late to get back in that South Dakota game. So Biden's got to play a 4-quarter game, and then when they get that momentum in that first quarter, it's got to carry over into the second and third and on into the end of that game. And I'll just hang up and listen to what you got to say about it.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate the call. Momentum. It's always a
energy. I would say energy. That's kind of what came to mind when I'm listening to Al in his call there, and thanks for calling in. But I felt like there was times, especially like he's talking about, you get off to that fast start, and then the Southern Illinois sideline, if you weren't there, if you couldn't see it on TV, like it was electric. They were feeding off of momentum. The energy was all on their sideline, and then I don't remember it was those kickoffs. And if you go back to that game, and they had 2 penalties on a kickoff return for NDSU, and when NDSU should have had the ball in like their own 12-yard line, they get 2 15-yard penalties, puts NDSU at midfield, and I felt like that really turned the tide in that game. And then you saw the energy on the sideline of NDSU. It was completely flipped, and I think that's something we talk about rivalry. Well, that's the one thing where I think, looking at this game, viewing it as a rivalry can help NDSU is you feed off the momentum, you feed off the energy of the crowd, and you use that all 4 quarters. You don't just use it at the beginning of the game when everyone's hyped up and everyone's ready to go. You have to be able to sustain it, and that's, it's a good point brought up by Al, there's been times where NDSU has looked like the best team in the country, and then it's not always sustained through 4 quarters, but it's giving you that hope. It's giving you that, that's the insight there that this team could be pretty dang good and could be possibly peaking at the right time, and hopefully we see, their best game of the year Saturday, tomorrow, inside the Fargo Dome.
I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I know there's some fans hoping for that, and maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong, but there hasn't been many blowouts all year.
Right.
So, and UND is a good team. They're a playoff team right now, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be a close game, and it comes down to momentum and trying to keep a hold of it. And maybe you have to be aggressive. Maybe you have to go for it on a 4th down, near midfield when you're maybe on the outside of field goal range, something like that. And those big decisions that go on throughout each and every one of the games so far this season. Today's show brought to you in part by Red River Commodities with Sun Butter. Sun Butter is free of the top 8 food allergens, including tree nuts, peanuts, soy, and dairy, grown in the tri-state area and produced locally at Red River Commodities in Fargo. Sun Butter, simple ingredients, delicious flavor. We'll take a break. Back with a whole lot more here. Hour number 2 rolling on next.
This is the Insiders on your exclusive home for North Dakota State Athletics, Bison 1660.
Get ready for the region's premier ice fishing event, Shields Ice Fest, presented by Clam. This year, the tent is bigger, with 3 days to shop this Friday through Sunday at Shields on 45th Street. Register to win over $9,500 in prizes, including a guided trip to Lake Winnipeg, new inventory from Glacial Lake Snow Bear, and Outlet Recreation, plus daily giveaways, unadvertised hourly specials, and the best names in the industry under one tent. You won't want to miss this one. Shields Ice Fest, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Shields on 45th Street in Fargo.
November is Diabetic Eye Disease Awareness Month at Eyes on Broadway and Rexine Family Eye Care. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Rexine, your downtown eye doc. Did you know those with diabetes are at higher risk for eye disease? Reduce your risk by maintaining a healthy weight and diet, staying physically active, refraining from smoking, and getting your annual eye exams.
Set up an appointment with Dr. Michael Rexine or myself, Dr. Vanessa Manlove, at michaelrexine.com, with locations in both Fargo and Mayville.
I promise you will see the difference.
The Right Choice program is a program that's designed to utilize multiple varieties, whether it be varieties of corn or soybeans or sunflowers.
It's a great way for our customers to look into our lineup a little bit deeper. It gives them a chance to see a couple products maybe they wouldn't, and it's really something that everybody should be doing.
You should plant multiple varieties every year anyway, and you get something back for it.
God, who doesn't like free stuff, right?
Need seed, think Proseed. Proseed.net, great seed at a reasonable price.
These days, we're all looking for ways to save some cash. Have you looked at your insurance? Talk to your Nodak Insurance Company agent, because the more you insure with Nodak Insurance, the lower your premiums. Work with one local agent to package your home, autos, or excess liability, everything you care about. Then watch the savings add up. Ask your Nodak Insurance agent how you can save with a multi-line discount. Nodak Insurance Company, agents with answers.
On the Rocks Craft Cocktails bring natural, refreshing, bar-quality, balanced cocktails to the ready-to-drink category. Natural ingredients, no preservatives. Like the Mai Tai with Carusan Rum, the Margarita with Hornitos Tequila, and Old Fashioned with Knob Creek Bourbon, and Aviation with Larios Gin. Or get spicy with a Jalapeno Pineapple Margarita with Tres Generaciones Tequila. Or maybe live it up with the Cosmopolitan with Effin' Vodka. On the Rocks Craft Cocktails. Hard to choose, easy to pour. Please drink responsibly.
Need holiday cash fast? Corwin Auto will put a little extra jingle in your pocket this holiday season. Corwin Auto wants to buy your used vehicle and will offer more money than ever to buy it. Bring in your vehicle to any Corwin location and have it appraised. Get an instant offer and walk away with cash on the spot. There has never been a better time to sell your vehicle and get top dollar for it. So let Corwin Auto help stuff your stocking this season. Stop by any of the 4 Corwin Auto locations today.
Dirt, rock, whatever you got, let it slide with Super Slide by Horn Plastics. Super Slide is a plastic, non-stick, self-lubricating, and seamless liner that's eliminated haulback in your dump box or trailer. Super Slide is easy to install, available in various grades, widths, and thicknesses. Going on now, you can take advantage of Horn Plastics' year-end install special. Buy one install, get the second free. Save up to $1,000 by booking your install before December 31st. For more information, visit hornplastics.com.
The Bison Hotline post-game show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
Hail to Bison, right here, your home for NDSU sports. This is Bison 1660.
This hour of The Insiders brought to you by Wimmer's Diamonds every Friday. For 103 years, they've watched you fall in love and stay in love, providing beautiful reminders to celebrate all your special moments at Wimmer's Diamonds, their brand new showroom at 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo. Andy Rickoff, Micah Bindi, Kyle Emanuel here with you. A couple of segments left. We've got to make sure we mention this. This is the poll question on Bison 1660 right now on our Twitter account at Bison 1660. Do you want an outdoor stadium? I think there's some fans that mention, with the home field advantage back in the day. This is a good time for this because NDSU UND, obviously Dakota Field, Memorial Stadium, used to have these outdoor venues, the big snow games, snow namis, whatever you want to call them. It's a home field advantage, right? That's what you get these teams from the south that come up to Fargo and face you in the playoffs. It'd be a great advantage. Wouldn't you want to have outdoor football, Kyle?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I do not want outdoor football. Look, I'll say this. One of the reasons I was like, when people are like, well, why would you choose North Dakota State? It's so cold. It's like, we play inside. Who cares? Like, the weather is always, you always know what the weather is going to be on game day. I always wanted to play, and this goes back to our conversation a little bit about field turf and grass. Like, I wanted to play in an environment where I felt like I could play my best. I don't care about the other team. I don't care about the home field advantage like that. We have enough of a home field advantage inside the dome when you pack that thing and you get the loud crowd and everything that goes on there. So I wanted to play somewhere where I knew it was going to be, didn't have to worry about the weather. Wear the same thing. I don't want an outdoor field. I understand it. Look, I get it. Like, I wasn't around for the Dakota Field days, but I understand, like, teams didn't want to play there. But from a recruiting standpoint, from all that, I think we're just fine inside the Fargo Dome. And I think the poll shows that. We got 85% saying no to an outdoor stadium.
You just don't want to be cold.
No, I don't like being cold.
It's not tough enough.
Playing football,
Nebraska soft.
Okay, there we go. Playing football is hard enough. You know how much worse a hit hurts, like with your fingers and your hands when it's cold out compared to when it's warm. It's night and day.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. I hate it. I hated playing the cold. The coldest game I played in was in New England. I wasn't a fan of it. I'm good with the indoor stadium.
Even playing like
Micah probably has a different opinion because he's all about.
There's some fans that absolutely want the cold.
I get it.
I'm bringing it up because the Buffalo Bills play outdoors, Orchard Park, and this week they've moved their game to Detroit. Their game with Cleveland's been moved to Detroit, to the Lions Stadium, Ford Field, because they're expecting 4 to 6 inches or feet of snow. Not inches. My bad. I'm used to it being inches. Feet of snow. Nick Chubb isn't even 6 feet tall, so he might get lost out there.
He would get lost.
He would get lost.
Devin Singletary's 5'7".
Yep. So he couldn't run the ball. He'd be stuck under that. They have moved it because there's too much snow, but that's also considered a great outdoor environment and atmosphere, and Bills Mafia loves it.
It is, but like at that point, it's like, how do you even get the teams to the stadium? How do you get the operations, all the people that work at the stadium? How do you get the people that have to be there? Forget the fans. Obviously, you need the fans there too, but like, how do you get anyone there? It's not possible. I don't know many buses that can plow through 4 feet of snow. Maybe you have to get instead of a police escort, you have a snowplow escort, I guess.
Yeah. Only in Buffalo.
I know Micah has some thoughts.
I don't want to be in the cold either, so I'm with you on that. And I think NDSU's advantage in the dome is already good enough. It's way better than what the cold would provide against Southern teams. I think the noise is more impactful than the cold.
Agreed.
In my opinion.
And I don't think the fans get as loud when they're cold. I don't know how you could.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good point. You already have a pretty good home field advantage. The noise of the Fargo Dome is a pretty good advantage.
People can get loud when they have adult beverages because they're trying to stay warm in the cold.
That's true. I will say this, too. I remember, I don't know why I remember this, but when we played Sam Houston State my senior year in the Dome in the semifinals, and you talk about teams from the South, that's obviously a team from the South, and I still remember one of the offensive linemen looking at me. He's like, how do you go? Well, he said in his Texas draw, but how do y'all play in here? I can't breathe. Like, for whatever reason, like, playing inside, like, messed with them more. Maybe not more, but it also messed with them because they're just not used to, I don't know the science behind it, but for whatever reason, like, it was too warm. I don't know what. They didn't like it. So
there's been some games where it's a little chilly in there.
Well, it is, for sure. But maybe it wasn't the temperature. I don't know what it was, but he was like, I can't breathe.
It was just
humid or something. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but he said that to me, and I was like, it always stuck with me.
Okay, fair enough. So there's the poll question. Do you want an outdoor stadium, that home field advantage of embracing the tundra of the North? Obviously, other teams in this region, USD, Dome, Northern Iowa, Dome, UND.
But who doesn't have a dome?
That's SDSU.
South Dakota State.
Exactly.
So are you getting an advantage there? No.
No, not necessarily. And there's been some games in the colder days where maybe not as many fans down there.
I think it's supposed to be like 12 degrees tomorrow. So, I mean, if you're fine sitting for 4 hours or whatever, 3.5 hours and 12 degrees, that's fine. You're tougher than me. I am man enough to admit that.
I really can't talk about it because the press box would still be indoors and heated. So
true. And as long as I'm doing what I'm doing, I would also be fine.
Yep.
But,
I kind of want it just because our counterpart, Cole Jurek, Logan Campbell.
On the
sidelines. Those two individuals.
I legitimately felt bad for Logan and Southern. I mean, that was a different cold. That was just, it was like the wet cold. I mean, it was like, I'm glad I'm going to be up in the press box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. Take our final break, come back, wrap up the show and the week for you next.
Hear the herd here. Bison's 1660.
It's back! Get ready for bingo, pull tabs, poker, and blackjack at Bar 9. Now under new management, with new hours starting Monday. Opening daily at 11 a.m. with exciting new lunch specials. Happy hour Monday through Friday from 4 until 6, and all day Sunday with $1 off drinks. Bar 9 Charitable Gaming is back and now supporting West Fargo baseball. Follow them on Facebook because, more exciting things are coming soon. Bar 9 in the Pioneer Center, West Fargo.
For 103 years, Wimmer's Diamonds has been helping you celebrate special moments. Celebrate the precious little addition to your family. Celebrate that exceptional achievement. And celebrate love. We invite you to visit us at our inviting new showroom and let us help you find that perfect, beautiful reminder to celebrate your special moments of love. Wimmers, 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
Our Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. NDSU football won their third straight game this past Saturday after holding off Southern Illinois 21-18. Linebacker James Kaiser tied a career high with 14 tackles and secured an onside kick with 37 seconds left to help secure the victory. Quarterback Cam Miller and running back Tamarick Williams each rushed for touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Miller completed 6 of 11 passes for 80 yards, and Williams finished with 12 carries for 56 yards. Spencer Wagee had a career high 10 tackles as the Bison improved to 8-2 overall and 6-1 in Missouri Valley Football Conference play. The Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. The Bison close out the regular season at home, hosting the North Dakota Fighting Hawks in the Harvest Bowl this Saturday with kickoff scheduled for 2:30 p.m.
No one wants to think about it, but winter is here. Make sure your vehicle is ready at one of the 3 locally owned Jiffy Lubes of Fargo. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, it's easy. No appointment needed. Just drive up and drive in for your signature service oil change and a free charging system check to ensure your vehicle will be ready when you are. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, where you can do more in a jiffy. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for over 40 years.
Bourbon lovers are a distinctive group, embracing the differences from other spirits, all while expecting the rich variation of a good whiskey. That's why the Fistful of Bourbon folks, who have over 100 years of whiskey blending experience, are born to serve to those lovers of good bourbon, creating the masterpiece of blending 5 distinct bourbon whiskeys, sweet, balanced, and floral, with notes of cinnamon and licorice and buttery toffee. Fistful of Bourbon delivers a smooth, rich, full-fisted flavor like all top-shelf bourbon whiskey should. See it all at fistfulofbourbon.com. Please consume Fistful of Bourbon responsibly.
Hey folks, don't let bad credit hold you back from buying a car. Corwin Public Wholesale can help you get financed today. Visit corwinwholesale.com or stop by their location on 38th Street South in Fargo. Corwin Public Wholesale has helped thousands of people who have bad credit, no credit, bankruptcy, repo, divorce, or late payments. And with their financing power, Corwin Public Wholesale can get you into any vehicle today. They accept all credit applications. Apply today, drive today at Corwin Public Wholesale.
2 hours of sports talk every weekday, 11 to 1.
Well. Oh, my gracious.
Now, let's get back to the Insiders.
Fun hour here to wrap up the week, wrap up the day with you as well. Thanks to everybody that was calling and texting in. The show today brought to you by Men's Hair Company. Men's Hair Co. online, menshairco.com to schedule your appointment today with 5 locations in Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo to choose from. Got some more texts to get to. I'll run through them quick here. Give me some quick thoughts on these ones. It was really cold in Carbondale, says Steve Zaski on our text line. A good thought there. Sharon Schmidt with this thing to say about what you were talking about with the player from Texas in the last break. Says, I think the reason somebody from Texas would tell you they can't breathe in the dome is because of the lack of humidity that we experience in the winters here. So kind of drier. Get that dry mouth.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely humid down in Houston. I've been there. I've experienced that firsthand. So maybe the lack of.
How about this? Roger says Tyler Roll playbook will be wide open, holding nothing back in this game. Bison 35, Hawks 17. Go Bison.
I could see that.
Wide open playbook.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Why not? And you got to, again, do you do anything different without Lipke? I don't know, but I guess that remains to be seen.
And then Dan in Fargo says, can you give me any word on what's going on with Jalen Bussey? And I had a few people that have asked us this about, Jalen, when are we going to see Jalen a little bit more? Right now, Jalen Bussey, I think he's just been passed over on the depth chart by a few people. And we know we had an injury last year, the explosiveness, that's a big thing for Jalen. If he's not 100%, not fully explosive, that takes a big weapon away from his game, and have a whole stable of running backs that are really, really talented. So no injury news to share with you.
Right. Yeah, same. I would agree with you, Andy. I don't know if there's anything really to report there. It just seems like they've found some other guys that they like, and that's what they're rolling with.
But there are a lot of really good running backs. We have to get to Dave and Minot's over-unders just quickly here. So over-unders quickly. Keys to the game, he says, just like last game, we need to keep Tommy in the pocket and stop the off-script plays. Team stops the run game, that team will win. Bring the noise, Bison Nation. Over-under 2.5 false starts for UND. Over or under?
Over.
Right there with you. Getting the wings for the false start counter this week. Spencer Wagee, 1 sack or more sacks or offsides for Spencer Wagee. That's a little bit of
I think he's going to figure it out. I'll go more sacks.
I'll probably go more sacks, too. Yeah. I think he'll probably jump offsides once. On like a 3rd and long with the noise factor.
One offsides,
yeah,
1.5
he's trying to make
sacks.
plays. He's trying to make plays. I'm not going to knock him too much for that. More rushing yards for the Bison or UND passing yards?
Bison rushing yards.
Bison rushing yards. The pass defense is too good for NDSU. Bison will rush for over 260. Over or under?
Under. I don't know. That's
I'll go
tough.
slightly under. I'll go like the 240s, 230s.
That's a big number.
They might actually pass quite a bit because this UND pass defense is a little bit suspect in my opinion. And then Cam over under 17.5 passing attempts.
Ooh,
I'm going over. I'm going over. He's had a couple of games even in the 30s or low 30s and high 20s, so I'm going to go over on that one as well. Big game tomorrow. Our game day coverage starts at 8:30 in the morning. Chad Stark will be on the Bison Report show with Ross Uglum, and coverage gets going at 8:30, 2:30, the kickoff from the Fargo Dome. Again on Sunday, our Bison Bracket show, 11:30 to 12:30, reacting to the bracket and giving you the path for another title for the Bison, 11:30, 12:30, Sunday with myself and Cole Jurek. Have a great weekend. Horns up, and this is a Bison State.
Homewood Suites wants you to feel at home. This upscale extended stay brand understands that being away from home can be challenging. So Homewood Suites in North Fargo has designed their amenities to make life easier for you. At Homewood, you can relax in a variety of suites